I'm Kelly.
And I'm Caitlin.
And here we are, Cooking with Caitlin's 30 and 30. Welcome for day 23, creamy polenta. Creamy polenta.
How do they say it in Italy?
Polenta.
Do they really?
Cheers. Why not?
Okay, so I love polenta. And I don't really remember when I started loving it, but we did not grow up.
Maybe you did not ever not love it.
Well, I'm sure
discovered it.
I just okay, great. There we go. So I discovered it later in life. I've always loved it.
Yeah.
But so polenta is like grits for people who haven't had it. It's essentially cornmeal. And I'm going to teach you a basic how-to of how to make a delicious creamy polenta.
Polenta.
Oh, polenta.
Just say polenta.
Polenta. Okay. And then you can doctor it up in as many different ways as you would like.
That's right.
So, first off, I've got chicken broth gently simmering in a pot, just a small amount. To that, to a bowl, I'm going to add some cornmeal, just yellow cornmeal that you would use for
Well,
like
here,
catfish.
this is important to say because you might have this in your Lazy Susan right now. Good old-fashioned yellow cornmeal. Because this is polenta. You can buy something that is labeled polenta in the international aisle of your grocery store or at a specialty store, or you can just buy yellow cornmeal and pay less, more than likely, right?
Yeah.
They can charge you a lot more when it's in the international aisle. Just buy yellow cornmeal or use what's on your.
Okay, so chicken broth's boiling. I added a half cup of cornmeal, 1 cup of whole milk. I add the milk to the cornmeal so that it doesn't become grainy when you add it to the hot liquid. It doesn't lump up. But then I make the chicken broth boil instead of the milk because the milk will be quick to burn on the bottom, and then you'd have to completely start from scratch. So to the cornmeal, I add
What is the measurement on that?
1 cup of chicken broth.
1 cup of chicken broth, half cup of cornmeal, 1 cup of milk.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, that's how it's so creamy, all the liquid.
And then I add some baking soda. So, have you ever watched Cooks? What is it? Cooks Illustrated is the magazine.
Yes.
I can't think of the TV show, but
America's Test Kitchen.
thank you. Yes. So he tested all these recipes for grits and polenta, and he found that by adding baking soda to the cornmeal, it helps break down the germs, so you get a much creamier consistency in your mouth, so it's not as granular and delicious.
Now you did not measure that exactly. You just like a pinch or so.
Yeah, like a half teaspoon.
Okay.
And then a pinch of salt, and then you stir this together.
And this is just like cold milk.
Yeah, fine and big.
Okay.
It's not gonna look pretty, not like really anything. And then when your chicken broth is bubbling, like just a gentle simmer, then you just put in the milk and cornmeal. What? Because I spilled?
Yeah, you okay?
Okay.
Okay.
And then you just whisk it together until it starts to thicken up, like seize up, become that consistency.
Yep. Do you whisk continuously?
No.
No.
You'll start to see it bubble up, and then it'll thicken around the bubbles first, and then you want to whisk it together. When it starts to thicken up, I turn off the heat, put a lid on it, and let it sit for 5 minutes, and it's done. To this, okay, so
let it thicken, then you want to put a lid on it.
That's upsetting. Okay, so some of my favorite things, adding tons of fresh cracked pepper and serving this like with a pork chop that's been grilled with some fresh herbs, things like that. Adding cream cheese to it to make it even creamier, or mascarpone.
Mascarpone, yeah.
It's Parmesan, Asiago, anything, you can't really go wrong.
Sauteed mushrooms, grilled onions on top, just like that is delicious.
Oh yeah.
We've also had where Caitlin makes mole.
Oh yeah.
Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, like a slow cooked shredded beef.
So anything like kind of stewy,
yeah,
that you might normally put over rice or maybe even noodles, put a little on some polenta. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's also delicious for breakfast with crumbled sausage and a
fried egg over top.
Fried egg over the top.
Here's one thing I would like to say about this recipe is that it is creamy polenta. This is not the best recipe if you want to let it chill and cut it out into rounds and then fry it, because it won't seize up the same way. I would reduce the liquid that you're adding to the cornmeal to make it that firm frying kind of polenta.
Well, that's just a different recipe altogether.
Right. Well,
Yeah. No, right.
Not all polenta recipes.
Are we gonna get a look at what's in there?
Sure.
Almost there. Frothy.
Bubbling. Here you go.
Should I-
Tilt it.
okay.
Switch it over. Here we go. Oh, look
Can
at
you
this.
see this? Are you getting this smoke?
Yeah,
Or the
see how
steam?
it's thickened up? I'm gonna put a lid on it, let it sit, and then we have creamy polenta. Here, they're looking at the keyboard.
Oh.
That's it.
We're going to enjoy the polenta. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow. We have another week.
Yes.
Stay tuned. 30 and 30. Goodbye.